More lineup changes are coming for the Canucks ahead of Friday's game against the Flyers after a disappointing season opener, with some players moving up and down in the lineup to shake things up and knock the rust off from the summer. And Arturs Silovs gets back to the drawing board in order to bounce back from his struggling first game. We're going to be breaking down all that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any updates surrounding the Canucks as we head into the Flyers game on Friday. With that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is lineup moves incoming. So we see here from the Thursday practice lines that the top two lines remained untouched. Suter was skating on that third line, so it looks like he's going to be ready to go on Friday night. And then Nils Höglander dropping down to the fourth line, which was many people upset on Twitter. People were saying that, hey, give him the shot that he needs, and people were just very divided on what they were going to do there. But if you're looking at a guy like Suter, who is finally back and ready to go on that third line, he is already there and established on our third line. Höglander was playing, yes, on the first and second line near the end of last year. He was filling in for injury spots and just needing that depth presence. However, this season is off to a rocky start for the Canucks. I know it's just game one. We don't have to panic just yet, but we want to make sure that we can get into a good groove. So right now is the time to just throw things at the wall and see what sticks. And when something sticks, that's what the Canucks are going to roll with. And having Höglander on that fourth line, maybe he finds something with Sherwood and Blueger. Blueger's a lot taller, so he has a bit more reach. Sherwood's more physical, so if you have Höglander on there as the speedy guy, it does balance that line out a lot more, especially when looking at the raw two line with Garland and Höglander. That is just an all-speed line if Höglander was to continue playing on that third line. However, this does make it more balanced line in the long run, it seems. Hopefully that is the case on Friday against the Flyers, but we shall see. Then you see the two extra forwards were Nils Åman and Arshdeep Bains, who was called up from Abbotsford earlier this week after the Canucks did send him down. Seemed like he wasn't going to be down there for much longer. We knew that he was going to get his opportunities in the NHL this season. It just seems like it's coming a lot sooner than we thought. But again, we're going to be seeing a few guys in this rotation throughout the year. We're going to see AHL guys get called up, say, hey, let's play you for a game here. Let's play you for a game there. Let's play you for a few games in a stretch here and see how you do. It seems like they're doing that with Aatu Räty, and he's doing that very well. And then they're going to do that with Bains. Hopefully we see Lekkerimäki pop in there at some point. But if Bains start, it will be interesting to see what he's able to do on this team very early on in the season before he's able to just get his stride going in Abbotsford. But what do you guys think about Bains potentially starting this tonight or on the next few games? Love to hear what you guys have to say. But there's also another change that was made there. We see they're on that third defensive pairing. You see Juleson slated in there as the starting position and Desharnais as the extra defender. And when Tocchet was asked about the possibility of a defensive rotation, he said if Vinny sits out some games, he's going to work with our guys. It worked with Hoggy, it worked with Dakota. You can't be afraid to have that ability to sit players and help them work on their games. Juleson could come in tomorrow or the next game and we can have a little bit of a rotation and guys can work with the coaches. I think that's important. And I honestly love this coming from Tocchet. I think this is something that Vancouver definitely should be trying out. We knew coming into this season that, yes, the defensive core has mainly remained the same. We did get some new guys in there. You got Vinny Desharnais, you got Jared Forbort, and now we have Noah Juleson coming back. So if you guys are having a bit of a rotation on that fourth defensive pairing, I think that would be very nice where we have a chance to see what guys can do and see what they can do. I know I said the fourth defense pairing, but it is the third defensive pairing. But I think after last game where Vinny Desharnais and Derek Forbort didn't do too much, they were on the ice for a lot of the things that did happen. Not great for Vancouver. They were on the ice for, I think, about 3 of the goals. So Juleson being on there does bring an opportunity to kind of change that tide and to do something different with the defense. And when asked about the starting possibility, Noah Juleson kept it simple. He said, I think I just keep it simple, go north when I can, not overcomplicate the game is the biggest thing for me. I've worked with footy and Gaunch, and you learn to stay with it every day, and at some point you'll get a chance to get in. So Juleson has just been waiting for his opportunity. He knew it was going to come at some point, and we didn't think it was going to come this soon, but we knew that it was going to happen where we have those bottom 3 guys that are going to be competing for that third pairing. They're going to see a lot of change up. Yes, the top 2 pairings are not going to change at all, but in that bottom pairing, I think we could see a little bit of a 3-way rotation here where Tocchet tries to see what works and what doesn't. And I think this is a perfect time to do that. Like I said, it's early in the season. It's not panic mode yet. If you're ever doing this stuff later on in the season, trying to make something work for the playoffs, I would be a lot more concerned. But because we're doing this at the start of the season, it's time to just see what happens and what can work and what doesn't work, so that you can just make sure that that just sustains throughout into the playoffs like Vancouver wants to do. But what do you guys think down below? What do you guys think about Höglander moving to that fourth line? And what do you guys think about Noah Juulsen potentially starting on Friday against the Flyers? We'd love to hear what you guys have to say, but that's going to bring us into our second topic of the day, which is back to the drawing board. So after the disappointing game one from Arturs Silovs, yes, he was good from in close, but from a distance, that's where his weaknesses were exploited. Tocchet talked to him after the game and said, if you're going to be in this business a long time, those games are going to happen. He's a really good goaltender, and to be a really good goaltender, you can ask Demmer, you're going to have nights like that. You go to practice the next day and work on your game. He's fine. We've put him through tough spots and he's responded, so I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about him either. I don't think Canucks fans are going to be worried about it either. And he was definitely back to work, having a long chat with Canucks goalie coach Marco Terenius at the end of practice, saying that he was staying out there after Lankinen left the ice, maybe an indication of the plan for tomorrow. And I don't think necessarily this is going to be a situation where Silovs is going to start back-to-back games. Like I said, with the forwards and with the defensemen, this is the time to see what sticks and what doesn't. So yes, give Lankinen the start. He's been ready. He's been ready to go. He's been itching to play since he got to Vancouver. So after game one, give Silovs a bit of a rest, make him refine those tools in practice, start Lankinen in game two and see what happens. And then after that, you address the situation from there. It's going to be a very big saga as far as the goaltending situation this season. There's going to be a lot of different roster moves that are going to be interesting to follow throughout the course of the season. We're definitely going to bring you guys all those updates as they're happening. And when Silovs was asked about Thursday practice of why he stayed later, he said, just to clean up my game, there are some things I have to do maybe better, and traffic could be a little bit better. Two, it's small things. I watched a little bit after the game and now I'm focused on moving forward. This is awesome that Silovs knows what he needed to work on. We said that heading into this season, that in the playoffs, that's where he got exploited, was shooting through traffic and shooting from a distance. That's what Edmonton did, and they were able to be very successful for it, especially Evan Bouchard with his Bouch bombs, and then Calgary as well. They realized this after the first period. They said, hey, let's not attack the net so much. Let's just attack it from a distance, shoot through traffic, and see if one can squeak through. And that was definitely the case against Silovs, and it worked to perfection. You can't blame the Flames for that. However, now it's Vancouver's turn to go on the defensive and on the offensive as well and just say, hey, now we got to refine those tools. Silovs knows he has to refine those tools, and he's going to do the work to do that. I think still giving Lankinen the start in game two is the way to go, but make sure Silovs is ready for that third game of the season where we're not letting in those kind of goals, and maybe it's a more defensive game. I know heading into this game, the Canucks are, and Tocchet said after last game, he wants to be more defensive heading into this game. So I think we're going to see a bit of a different approach this game as well. I think that Vancouver is going to have a lot less shots on net. I think we're going to be lucky to get 20 shots on net. Yes, I said it. It's going to be a very rough night as far as offense goes for the Canucks, but if that comes at the expense of if it means not letting in so many goals or choking a 3-goal lead, we get those goals when we have those opportunities, but stay back on the defensive and make sure that Philly isn't getting those opportunities as well. That's going to be a good game plan for, I think, Vancouver to have going in. Play a bit more defensively, a bit more conservative. We wanted to come out guns blazing and just shake the rust off last game. We definitely did that, where guys were just all over the ice and it was sloppy October hockey. But now this is the game where, okay, let's try and rein it in a bit. We got the jitters out. Now it's time to just play our game, and that is a more defensive game. I know people don't like that Canucks play a more defensive game, but when it works, and now they have to roll with it and just live by their identity, and that is to be a bit more physical, a bit more defensive, and not try and make chances happen where they could be turned the other way and they get an opportunity like they had on that goal where they broke out of the penalty box and scored on Silovs on a breakaway. We want to limit those opportunities for Philly, and we want to limit that as for any team going forward. We just want to lock down, play our game, and make sure that we are playing good old-fashioned Canucks hockey. But what do you guys think down below? What do you guys think about this game going into Friday night against the Flyers? Love to hear what you guys have to say, but that's going to bring us into what you guys have to say, and that is comment of the day. And from our post-game last video, Coyote Creek Band said, the only thing that took the sting out of tonight's outcome was the Leafs and Oilers losing. Wasn't prepared to see that display in the last two periods. It was brutal. Yes, it was brutal watching those last two periods, but that was the silver lining. The Leafs lost, the Oilers lost, and those are teams that are considered Stanley Cup contenders every year. So if those guys lost the first game, it bodes all right for us, where we're not too worried. It was game one. I know we might have stressed a little bit of panic in our last video, but again, it is game one. We're going to be going into this next game a bit more calm, a bit more relaxed. We don't have the first game jitters. We're still going to be at home, so it is going to be nice to see what the fans do, what the energy they bring. I think they're going to be a lot more amped up this game. Definitely hoping to hear some JT Miller chants in the crowd again. Hopefully it goes our way, and we're back on this channel talking about a Canucks W, our first W of the season. But we did get the point. We came away away with the point last game. So if we can get one more point at least, yes, overtime loss would suck. But again, we do come away with a point. But we want to be coming on here talking about a W or an overtime win, stealing those 2 points. Can't wait to see what you guys on the post-game reaction after tonight's game. Stay tuned to Canucks Digest for all of that. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.